This is Clandon Park, a country house laid bare. In April 2015, a powerful fire tore through the house, stripping away its outer layers to reveal the bare brick bones beneath. After that awful day, we began to pick up the pieces with the help and support from many people and organisations. Faced with such a huge task, our work has followed many stages, and there are many more to come. From stabilising the structure of the house to salvaging thousands of architectural and collection objects from the debris and building a complex web of 31 miles of scaffolding to support a temporary roof, each has been a mammoth challenge in its own right. In 2018, we held an international competition to appoint the right design team to help us chart a new future for Clandon. Since 2019, we've been working together to test design concepts using our ever-growing knowledge of the post-fire house. At every stage, we have learnt more and more about this remarkable place, about how it was made, and by whom. New layers of architectural fabric and social history continue to be revealed, each adding new complexity and meaning to Clandon's 300-year-old story. With its fine finishes stripped away, Clandon Park reveals what lies beneath so many houses across the country. Once you've seen this unique place, you'll never look at another stately home in the same way again. We wanted to share this extraordinary place and the challenges that lie ahead, so we opened the house again as soon as we could. Since 2016, over 75,000 people have put on hard hats and seen the house for themselves. Not everyone will be able to visit, so we've created this tour to offer a snapshot of the house today and show you more of what we've learnt so far. This is a house made by many hands and touched by many lives across the globe, some unexpected and some uncomfortable. It was built for Thomas and Elizabeth Onslow and designed by Italian architect Giacomo Leone. Many hands made this house, from men felling trees for its joists in Finland, men quarrying Carrara marble in Italy, which was transformed by sculptors in London, to the sailors steering cargoes across the seas, blacksmiths forging iron nails just outside, to the stuccatori who crossed the Alps, bringing astonishing skill and creativity to transform humble Surrey chalk into daring sculptural ceilings. Elizabeth Onslow was a wealthy heiress, and much of her fortune came from the trading and forced labour of enslaved people, thousands of miles away on a sugar plantation which she inherited from her uncle. This house was made by hundreds, if not thousands, of mostly unseen and unheard people. This is the marble hall. Then as now, it is awe-inspiring and needs time to take in. The fire has destroyed the perfect proportions and glowing white appearance of this 40-foot square cube, but despite this, the room still has a jaw-dropping power. This was the entrance hall, and the double doors, each with its once concealed monumental brick arch, led family, friends and guests to the rooms beyond. Now our eyes are drawn to the extreme contrast of surface and colour left by the flames. The bright and crisply carved marble chimney pieces and their overmantels by the great Flemish sculptor John Michael Rysbrack stand out against the rich red of the revealed brick walls. Some of the plaster surfaces have survived. Pilasters and their decorative capitals remain, showing where the decorative cornice they once supported should be. The fire has peeled away layers to reveal the skeleton beneath. Timber battens, iron holdfasts and nails, chestnut laths, and the build-up of plaster cloats, rough and hair-filled to smooth and glistening. High up hang diminutive servant fireplaces, and an eerie soot mark stretches out like a hand across the brick. sculpture of Venus and the Discophorus teeter precariously, keeping a lonely watch over the proceedings below. Throughout the house, we can now see the layers, physical and cultural, which created this country house and gave it its power. Through the marble hall is the saloon, where the once painted decorative plaster overmantel has been burnt to a terracotta colour, which now blends with the surrounding brickwork. And there can be no doubt that this is a brick house. Hundreds and thousands of bricks made from clay dug from the estate and brought to the waiting bricklayers by horse and cart. It is the thickness of these massive brick walls which helped the house to survive the fire. The fire has revealed the different techniques used by the bricklayers, from the never-to-be-seen, rougher internal walls to the finessed exterior rub bricks with their thin pointing. Once hidden from view, the bricklayers' arched joist pockets have been blown out. The huge timbers collapsed onto the floor to lie amongst the remains of the decorative plaster ceiling and other debris. Where the bricklayer has gone a few millimetres out of alignment, we can see where the internal wall has been hewn by a joiner's chisel, so his panelling runs straight and true. The joiner's skill is all around us in the state bedroom. The windows and their sash boxes and the huge shutters. Panelled for warmth and as a backdrop for art and tapestry, this striking blue-painted panelling was covered for more than 100 years by wallpaper. Impossible to hang wallpaper on uneven panelling, all that remains is the tattered and torn hessian which once stretched taut across it, supporting the modern red flot wallpaper chosen by the Prince of Decorators, Mr. John Fowler. Where the panelling has completely burnt away, you can see deep cracks in the brickwork, probably caused by settling during construction, but opened up by the heat of the fire. Despite their dramatic look, the house is structurally sound. The overwhelming sight in the library is the peeling paint. Huge curls hanging in suspended animation from the ornate decorative plaster beneath. The monumental fireplace and gaping hole above, which once held a family portrait. Remnants of the books which gave the room its purpose survived, but have been removed, leaving the partial, empty shelves behind. Turn around and a different story reveals itself. The fire claimed more surface decoration here to reveal, yet again, the brick structure. Difficult to believe now that this, the speaker's parlour, survived the fire almost untouched. The highly ornate stucco ceiling was saved, and now the sculpted plaster faces stare down at us from behind their wooden and metal cage. Once again, a scaffold fills the room, giving us the same rare sight and experience that the original stuccatori would have had nearly 300 years ago. This family dining room had panelling concealed beneath many layers of wallpaper. After the fire, an outbreak of the fungus called dry rot meant that all this was carefully removed to a safe store. Protective marks scratched into a 17th century timber were discovered underneath, giving us another insight into the superstitious nature of the unnamed builders of Clandon Park. This space, where a grand cantilevered stone staircase once stood, is unusual. There is no ceiling, but the walls are not scorched. Instead, they bear the scars where huge Portland stone treads would have borne family to the large bedrooms above. This once grand staircase was a miracle of engineering, with its huge stone treads balanced one upon the other with its weighted precision. It's likely that a roof or ceiling timber dropped down and broke off the treads as it fell. The roof was entirely burned away, leaving the cellular structure of the house exposed, like a one-to-one ground plan and this vast chimneyscape. Because the roof was hidden behind a balustrade with tall projecting chimneys, the architect's original intention remains despite the destruction of the fire. Scarring on the chimneys reveals the 3 different roofs over the 300-year history of the house. Leone's original multiple tiled pitched and valley roof, the First National Trust mansard and copper flat covering the entire roof, and, last of all, the lead flat which was installed over the top. A change can be seen here, where an additional chimney flue has been added at great trouble and cost, tacked on in the 1770s to Leonie's original chimney stack serving the Palladio room. The chimneys are a reminder that for much of its history the family and their staff were kept warm with open fires burning wood and later coal. Once this was the busiest, most well-trodden place of all at Clandon Park, where servants would have kept this house and its family fed, warmed and watered. It was the engine room of the house. We're only looking up in this cool pantry room to the huge timbers above our heads, one of only a few timber structures which survived the fire intact. We can see revealed the underside of the floor above, complete with hearthstone. The high brick vaulted ceiling in the kitchen kept it cool, bright, free from annoying columns and protected the rest of the house and its occupants from fire. The huge stone floor slabs were recycled from the Jacobean house, which was demolished to make way for the house we see today. The kitchen ranges for baking, roasting and boiling dominate the room, which would have been bustling with cooks producing hundreds of meals for the family, their guests and servants. Whereas the windows on the ground floors above were updated in the early 1800s, those here, with their unfashionably thick glazing bars, are rare survivals from the architect James Leonie's original design. This beautiful but simple vaulted space supports the huge weight of the marble hall's marble floor above us. Today you can visit this space to see collection items and architectural objects as the fire has left them. Here at the south end of the house, the fire has obliterated the floors which once separated those serving from those being served, leaving behind this cavernous space. The social hierarchy of the rooms is nowhere more obvious than here. Starting at the dim stone-floored basement with its lower ceilings and small fire grates, as our eyes move upwards, the high-status Palladio room slices through this cross-section of the house. With its tall ceilings, a huge hole where the chimney piece stood, and 3 large south-facing windows looking towards the highly sculptural garden grotto. Up again, and the room is divided to make 2 family bedrooms, and at the very top, lower ceilings, the space divided into 3, and small grates and small windows tell us that this was where servants slept. This one space, stretching from basement to roof, reveals so much about the building and the purpose of the historic house in England. And so our tour of this extraordinary country house comes to a close. A country house laid bare, revealed like an X-ray view of its making, giving us a unique chance to look beneath its surface and to see the work of the many hands who made the house, and to take in the contrasting ways in which people lived here. We can peer behind the facade of decadence and power, which was all we were ever intended to see. We can trace the wealth which created Clandon. We can imagine the hundreds of people dedicated to its design, construction and decoration. From architects and garden designers to plasterers and stonemasons, bricklayers and ironmongers. And we can see the changing fashions and ideas that shaped it, spanning centuries and continents, employing craftsmen, artists, materials and furnishings from all around the world.